what are the core personality traits of the Doctor? Who is he or she as a person? What are the key traits that are shared across the board? Is it a desire to save? Is it a desire to heal? What is it?
Your questions are far too difficult.
I know, is it for 7:30 too deep?
I always thought I wanted to bring a certain naive recklessness back to the character, a certain vulnerability, which I thought I'd loved. My doctor, I grew up watching Doctor Who, and my doctor was Patrick Troughton, and I think he had that element. Thank you, yeah. And I thought it had disappeared slightly with John Pertwee and Tom Baker. It's something that I liked in Patrick Troughton's character, and I just wanted to bring a bit of that back.
Well, funny enough, Patrick Troughton was the first Doctor I saw, and then I lost touch with it because then I became an actor, and there were no VCRs, there was no way to record it, to keep up with it, and it was never repeated. So my distant memory when I arrived in the TARDIS was Patrick Troughton as well. And so funny enough, then I suppose Peter and I are exactly the same.
What are the traits that carry across?
God, I mean, I think we're all slightly mental, really.
Yes!
And that's what's nice about it. When you sort of look across the board, he's always kind of mad. And that was, I think, I mean, for me anyway, was one of the great virtues of playing him. I always describe it to people like, with most other characters, if you think of him as the alphabet, you have to, you know, if you're playing a character and something happens to him, you've got to go through A, B, C, D, and then you go through F, and then eventually you get to Z. You know, you go through this whole journey, whereas the Doctor can just leap from A to Z without explaining any other letter from scene to scene, and so, you know, it sort of allows you. And also, the great thing is about playing him is he's always generally the most intelligent person in the room. He's always the cleverest person, which I meant to do. And he knows the most, which allows him to be the silliest. But then you screwed it all up.
So I guess it makes sense for River to be considered a psychopath because she's attracted to the madman, right?
Well, she's not, I mean, I wouldn't call the Doctor the bad man. But I think the Doctor probably is intrigued and fascinated by her. And she definitely challenges a side of him that I think he's never really explored before.
So far, it's pretty amazing, man. Look at this. I've only done a few of these, and this is pretty sizable. Yeah, we really love you out here. They love you out here. It's nice. It's nice. It's supposed to be there. Do y'all see his jacket? I mean, get a look at the jacket. Let him look at the jacket. It's a nice jacket. I'm just excited to see what the heck happens in Civil War, and I'm excited as you guys are about it. It's, can't wait to see it. Who's excited for Civil War? Yeah, it should be pretty great. Like a bunch of friends fighting. A bunch of friends fighting. Yeah, a bunch of friends fighting. There better be a nice hug at the end, you know. Yeah, you know, something. Because everybody's fighting this year. Daredevil, Punisher, Batman, Superman, and now. Yeah. Tony and Chris. Steve, whatever. I haven't had coffee yet. Give me a break, y'all.
My question is, playing so many different characters, has that influenced the way you think, and have you ever been in a situation where you thought, what would Hawkeye do, or what would Agent Brandt do, or any other kind of character, and has that influenced what you've done?
It's actually an interesting question. I mean, look, there's a part of me, some more than others in certain characters, I don't think, I mean, I guess I wish I had the will and strength of some of the characters I've played, but I don't really ponder and wonder, like, you know, what real James would be doing.
If I'm lucky enough to have choice, I take jobs that allow me to play someone I recognize, someone that's human, someone like, you know, who I think I can bring to life without being a cartoon, even in cartoons. So Luscious Malfoy, to me, is a racist. You know, I don't know if any of you have ever met a racist. They exist. I'm told they're the old one. Oh, someone put their hand up. I am. Oh, good. That's great. Good for you, sir. Well said. I love this country. It's free speech. The First Amendment. It's great. So Luscious Malfoy is a guy who hates Muggles. And why does he hate Muggles? Because he's scared of them. Because he's scared of the future. Doesn't think the future has a place for him. He preferred the past when he had all the power. And he's scared of the other. You don't need to look too far. I don't want to get overly political, but you don't need to look too far in my country, in Europe, or in this country, to hear people demonizing the other. Whether it's immigrants or Muslims or whatever it is, you know, you don't need to go too far to hear people who are scared and think they can maintain their status and power by scapegoating, by fighting some group. And Luscious Malfoy obviously comes from generations of people who had all the control, and yet things are changing at the edges. Muggles are allowed into Hogwarts, and there are, you know, you don't have to be a pure blood to be important anymore. And he's terrified of that. And that kind of fear makes him a bully and a racist and desperate. So when people think about him as a bad guy, a villain, to my mind, villains are people you're scared of. Nobody's scared of Lucius, he's pathetic. He's so desperate for the approval of Voldemort, he's so desperate for any kind of status, for people to look up to him, that he'd sacrifice first of all his dignity, but he'd sacrifice his wife, his kids, and in the end they see through him as well. So he's a terrible loser, rather pathetic, desperate, completely recognizable human being to me. You know, when I watch him, I hear all of those very right-wing politicians in Europe talking about closing up the borders and not allowing refugees in and blaming problems. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's one of my best jokes. And so that's what I think. Captain Hook is another one who, before the film has started, has already lost to Peter Pan. He's got no right hand, which, by the way, just as an aside, was very annoying. I arrived in Australia. They went, "We're going to teach you to sword fight." I said, "I don't think you need to do that. I'm pretty good at sword fighting. You may have seen The Patriot and various other films." And they went, "What, with your left hand?" And I went, "Oh, shit. You're kidding me. Do we have to do that?" They went, "Pardon my bad language, cover those children's ears." I apologise for that. It was a quote, young and me. I just won't look. It's the children down there, I can't look. So I had to learn to sword fight my left hand. But anyway, Captain Hook is a guy who is also, he's terrified. He's terrified of everything, because he's terrified of youth. He's terrified of getting old. As an actress of a certain age, I can tell you that I recognise those feelings profoundly. But anyway, there's a man who's lost also and is desperate, and nobody's generally scared of him. Even the man in The Patriot, who is, you know, is not a loser in the sense that he's doing pretty well in battle till right at the end, and is slaughtering his prisoners and killing children. In those days, it turned out, I was doing research before we started The Patriot, they had this strange system in England where the first son gets to inherit everything, and the second son doesn't. So I was making a film in Germany last year. We were shooting this big castle, and at some point people went, "Oh my God, the prince is coming, the prince is coming." The crew, not in the script, I mean in real life. I went, "You have princes?" And they went, yeah, we have the guy who would be, well, we have a parliament now, but I mean, we still have a royal family, and this guy owns like castles everywhere, and he's a billionaire, and if we had a king, he would be king today." And they all were kind of slightly like that, and this guy walked in. And I'm a big Republican, I'm not a big fan of the monarchy, and so this guy walks in, he goes, "Hi Jason, nice to meet you, my name is George, I think his name is George, thank you so much for coming to our castle, I hope it's nice for you." And I said, "What, you've got a castle?" He said, "Yeah, I have like 35 castles, yeah." I said, "Geez, that's a lot of claiming. What do you, so well, I hear people saying you would be Kaiser." He goes, "Yeah, that's like king or Caesar, but I'm from that family." So how far can you trace your family back? He's like, I think like 1400 years or something. And I said, yeah, oh my God. And I said, is that what you do full time? He said, no, I have a staff. I also have a hedge fund and all this stuff. But yeah, it's a big estate. We have like something like 1/10 of Germany, and my family owns. Oh, that's impressive. And I said, what, you share that with your siblings? He said, no, I was the first son, so my brothers have nothing. I have twin boys. And I said, all right, how old are they? He said 7. And I said, what happened? It gets passed on to them. He said, no, the older one will get it all. I said, how old is he? Yeah, he's old by 2 minutes, yeah. You'll have all of it. So, anyway, so in the Patriot, it turns out that there were a lot of officers fighting in this country because they were the second sons. And they weren't going to get anything back home. So if they won, and every time they would ride around with a map and they would carve out areas where they won, they were building a future for themselves. And if they lost, there was nothing for them. They were destitute. They relied on the grace and favor of their elder siblings. So for me, even that guy was real, because in war, you dehumanize your enemy. I've been privileged enough to know a lot of soldiers I met on Black Hawk Down and Green Zone, a lot of them Marine recon guys and Rangers and Delta guys and stuff. I don't want you clapping me for their unbelievable service, but anyway, you heard that, wherever you are. So in war, there's people. One of the great things as an actor is you meet people, and they don't feel like they're talking to journalists. They will confess things to you that they would never tell the public. Maybe they would even tell their spouses and stuff. And there are times that you dehumanize your enemy. It's the only way you can get through things. And you no longer see them as people. And that's that's part of the thing you need to do. Sometimes something you shouldn't have to do. So there are people, very impressive alpha males who have done extraordinary and noble and courageous things, who also told me that on certain occasions, everything that moved was fair game because they were scared. Everything that moved. Cattle, women, children, adults, it's a space they got into.
We have arrived at the end of our Salt Lake FanX experience, and we've had truly a blast. It's been so awesome.
Yeah, it's been pretty much amazing. We've done everything from singing along with Dr. Horrible to seeing amazing panelists and amazing celebrities.
Yeah, bought a lot of comic books, we both bought Zelda Monopoly. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And we got to meet some famous people.
Yes, we did. Lots of really good stuff, and we're really happy and we're really excited, and I think this one will be an even better video than our previous one. So we hope you enjoy it as well at home.
So until next time, you guys have a great week.